So I told Lydia I quit. I'm done. I ain't working no more. But, oh, hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of
I know what
Inside.
she told you. Work-life balance.
I gotta watch
You
what I
go
say.
back to work.
I forgot you sitting in front of me over here. Okay.
I bet you
Yeah.
do.
Anyway, welcome to Inside Texas with Mitch and Jeff on another exciting evening of all kinds of crap going on
Man,
throughout the Matagorda County, the world, the state of Texas. Man, it is crazy.
great.
Crazy. Yes,
It is.
it is. All right. Well, we're gonna. Oh, before I get to start, real quick, I just want to pull this up. Everybody's worried about these storms here. There's little bit of radar right here for you. Uh, there's a couple severe storms up north. They had actually golf ball size hail up towards where was it, Lydia? Up towards Belleville, up that way,
Sealy,
right?
yeah.
Sealy, yeah, up towards Sealy, up that way. Those storms are moving south. They should fizzle out by the time they reach the coast. So, but we're going to keep an eye on it. Stay tuned to Gulf Coast One Radio, GCR1.com, and we'll keep an eye on those storms. Some of those storms going into Houston and that have caused a problem. That last radar was from an hour ago, around 6:00. So. I just wanted to give everybody a heads up. The other thing is, we're going to have a special program that I'm working on right now. It will have a couple different people on throughout the county, and it's called Matagorda Aware. So that's going to be the name of the program, Matagorda Aware. This is going to give everybody an opportunity to get your answers that you've been having in the back of your head before a hurricane, during a hurricane, after a hurricane. We're going to have we're going to get the judge. We got people from the National Weather Service, Andy Kirkland, myself. We're going to have firefighters on, Sheriff's Department guys, Amanda Campos, our emergency manager here, and the judge, and a couple other different people that were wanting to get together to put this video together. And hopefully it can be used year after year after year with the information, all the information you need to know prior to a storm, during the storm, and after the storm for Matagorda County and most of the time for the people on the Gulf Coast. So, as a matter of fact, there's a couple meteorologists from the television stations who are going to be being a part of the interview as well. So we're putting that together, and we should have something together within a week or so for everybody to watch. And if you ever forget, it will be on the website all the time for you to watch in case you miss something or
And Jeff, I'm a firm believer that we can advertise this all day long, but it's word of mouth that I think will get the word out there. I call it the buddy system sometimes. When I'm trying to get information out, pick your phone up and call your neighbor, call your friends, your relatives, and say, hey, I've got this video. I just happened up on it. It's really good, and I need you to watch it. I liken it to, there's a joke around town: start a rumor on the east end of town, and then drive through town and try to beat the rumor. If it's a good, juicy, negative rumor, there's no way you can get from the east side of town to the west side of town before the rumor does.
Yeah,
but we'll let important information just sit there and not share it. And
I guarantee you this, that if hamburger went to $1 a pound at HEB, that everybody in the county would know within 15 minutes. But if a hurricane's coming for the past 5 days, people are going to say, I didn't know. Did you know there was a hurricane coming? I didn't know.
I know. That's exactly right.
Yeah, no, that's the way it is. It happens. But we're going to put this out there, and our friends at ABC 13 are going to put it out as well. Once we get to edit it and put it together, but we're looking forward to it, putting together the information. We've got certain questions that we're asking these folks, and we're going to get the answers for everything that you look forward to, especially before, during, and after the storm. So, Matagorda Aware. Make sure we'll get it out there on Facebook. Also, I want to thank my friend Andy. I don't know if anybody noticed it or not, but how many followers now on Gulf Coast One Radio Facebook page?
750.
Yeah, it's like 750 now. Last week was a little around 500. So we got 250 extra people jumped up that have been putting the word out because we're getting the right information out to folks, and they're starting to learn that by going there, they're going to get it. Andy puts something out there every single day, sometimes 3-4 times a day. So if you want to know, be weather aware of everything that's going on, just go to our Facebook page at Gulf Coast One Radio. It's very simple. Okay. All right, Mitch, let's get started with the we got going. You want to go up with the first thing?
Yeah. I think we hit a nerve last week when we were talking about building codes and the cost, and now there's everybody's aware there's a negative issue going around out there that I can assure you has gotten completely out of hand. I don't really care to talk about that so much, but I think there's some interest. I think we've got people talking. That's the key, is getting it forefront, get people talking about it. I get asked a lot of times, why are we building a brand new building? Why is a developer building a brand new building? We've got all these empty buildings falling apart in town. And my answer is, and I'm just as truthful as I can be, my answer is because of the cost of bringing that old building up to the strongest building code known to man. And the cost associated with that makes it cheaper to build something from new. And I'll just give you a couple of little examples. Some of them are famous. That stairwell was 2 inches too short. It wasn't now. They wanted it 2 inches wider. I was actually sitting in council when this was being discussed. The building owner had filed a variance. And the council was talking about requiring this individual to extend this old building, the stairwell. It was a house. This old house that had been there for years and years and years, and because of this new modern building code, it just wasn't cost effective for them to add 2 inches to the stairwell, and so they couldn't get a certificate of occupancy, and so it's those kinds of I don't want to say silly things, but if I'm building a new house, and I talked to a couple of the builders, the new home builders that are building like crazy in the new subdivisions. And I said, do you have a problem with any of the building codes? And they go, no, not at all. We don't have a bit of problem with the building codes because they know what it is. There's no surprises. It's built into the cost of the house. It's known. Here's the codes. The problem lies with these historic or very, very old buildings. You said something earlier, Jeff, that really I remember, and that is these buildings, you're talking about safety. These buildings have been there through Hurricane Beryl, Harvey, and a half a dozen to a dozen other major storms, whether it was a freezing storm or power knocked out, and these buildings are still sitting there. And some of them built in the early 1900s. But to go in and to have to meet the modern building codes, the old hotel, what was it? Not the Texian, I can't remember the name of it. The cement walls are a foot thick. And when you start requiring people to make major changes to that, it just gets cost is astronomical. And I told you about Carolyn and I thinking about buying one of the structures on the square for a very reasonable price, 2-story. Our idea was to rent the storefront out and put apartments upstairs on 60 South, just 3 or 4 doors down from the old Landmark building that's sitting empty now. I know the owner, and he disagreed with a work stop. He disagreed with a a building code necessity and tried to get it changed, and they put a stop work order on him. And he said, fine, I'll stop work. I won't ever touch that building ever again. And so when you drive by there now, it's got a brand new roof and new air conditioners, new subfloor, but yet it's going to sit empty. It's going to sit vacant. It's not finished. It's going to sit that way because of, one, the way he was treated probably, but two, because of what they were wanting him to do over him. And this is a contractor. This is what this guy does. And so, but you start putting those regulations, the Baytex Hotel, the concrete walls are this thick. Stuart Lynn did that. I don't think he'll ever get his money out of that facility because of all the things they made him do. And look, we're all for safety. I don't think anybody wants a unsafe building, but when you have a building that's close to 100 years old, like I said, that's gone through all of this, and then you start requiring modern day crazy stuff. One of the craziest I ever heard was a airtight testness. So you build a home, they wanted you to hire a company to come out and tape up the windows and the doors and pump air into it and see if it'll hold the air. How stupid is that? I grew up in a house that didn't necessarily meet that kind of crazy code. GFF, the ground fault on every outlet. Now I see the outlets near water, near the sinks and pools and all of that. That makes a lot of sense. But not every outlet has to be a ground fault outlet. That's what a breaker is in a breaker box, in my mind. But I'm just asking these questions and starting the conversations. I'm not taking a side. But Bay City, and if you want to start modernizing and cleaning up some of these old abandoned buildings, there is a financial reason it's abandoned. It's because you'll get upside down quickly on a building that you've already purchased, pretty high dollar sometimes, and then you're expected to put all of this other money in it. It just doesn't make it economical. So when you ask me out in the community, why are we building new strip centers when we've got all this empty space in downtown? I'll tell you, because of the cost of remodeling. It's just not worth it. Now, the other side of that coin is we need to be talking to elected officials. We don't do that well. What we do is we get on the Facebook and you get a keyboard warrior, and we bitch and we moan and we complain. And I think very respectfully and very professionally, we ought to go in with a business case and say, this is why I believe this and such. And if that happens enough times, that's what we elect people to do, is to listen. And if you don't like the building code, talk to an elected official. They can change that building code. There are some, I would say, there are some codes that in a non-attainment area, such as Fort Bend, Galveston, Harris County, the municipalities have to do certain things. But when you're in a attainment, EPA, air quality attainment county, as we are here in Matagorda, City Council makes that decision. And so I think respectfully, professionally, talking to them about it is the proper way to go about it. Not getting on Facebook, not calling names, not being ugly. The right way to do it is professionally professionally and lay it out. If I were to plan on becoming a developer, that's and develop older parts of town, that's what I would do. But it's sitting back and being silent that's costing us an awful lot. There's rumors. I think there is a expansion at one of the local plants that would add hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of jobs. But when we talk to elected officials, what they tell me is, Mitch, the only people that ever talk to me are the ones against tax abatements. And I'm thinking, well, okay, now I have my own personal opinion about tax abatements. If your project is going to create zero jobs, I have a hard time giving you a tax abatement. But if your project's in the billions of dollars and your project employs a lot of people, I have to remind people we're 2 percentage points higher. Our unemployment rate is 2 percentage points higher here in Matagorda County than every county connecting us, including Jackson County. And so I think I think we just sit back too much. You know, a year ago or 2 years ago, I really got on a rant about getting in the arena. And the last thing, Jeff, I'd say about it, if you feel really passionate about a topic, then get in the arena, run for the elected position, get on the ballot, get yourself, talk to your neighbors and your friends and your constituents, and get yourself elected and be the spokesperson if you feel passionate enough about it. Then get out there and do something about it. That's the way we professionally and making your case and doing your homework. I think that's important. But I also think that being civil, being neighborly. I said professionally 100 times already, but I can't think of a better word. And we're not all going to agree. We disagree. We're human beings, but we can disagree without being disagreeable. I tell people that all the time. You don't have to have my opinion. I don't have to have your opinion. But I'm not the enemy if I don't share your opinion. Right. You're not my enemy either.
Right. No, I agree. I would suggest this. To me, I would suggest this. Because of the amount of older buildings that we have in the area, I would look into other. I would, as a group, look in other towns and cities and how they handle their older building situations when they're turned over. That's number one. Number two, I remember in Allentown there was a what was it? Not antique. It was a committee. Yeah, it was a committee that was put together for older buildings.
Okay.
And they actually somebody that was state registered to inspect buildings to come in and say, okay, because it was built in this year, there are certain things you might have to change, but there's certain things that you can't touch and overdo. It's like I told you about that building about moving a main beam because it's not directly underneath another, but it stood there for 150 years.
Yeah.
You know, come on, man. Or that 2-inch staircase stuff.
Right.
I mean, come on.
It's silly. It really is.
I'm sorry. If I gain 20 pounds, I gain those 2 inches. That mean I still have to make another 2 inches onto my stairway? No, it doesn't make sense. But it's very easy for any politician to say no. A lot of times, it's very easy for them to say no, turn the cheek, and walk away, and you don't have to worry about it no more. If you're running for something and you believe in something, don't do it just for yourself. Right. You got to remember, you got people that are behind you or follow you and are believing in you to do something that you said that you were going to do.
Yeah.
And when you flip flop or you change your mind midstream or whatever, you better have a good damn reason to say, hey, this is the reason why I did this. Because a lot of times we don't hear that. We hear, well, you know, we weren't going to do a $25,000 tax on this, but now we're doing $50,000. And I hope you all enjoy it and walk away from it. Explain why. Explain why. I want someone and I tell you this all the time because I get people that come to us and say, "Oh my God, this tax abatement's killing me. I got so many bills because of it. My taxes are through the roof." It's not, I'm sorry, it hasn't affected me at all in Matagorda County with my taxes.
Yeah,
it's never changed. It's always been the same. And I'm living down here in Plant Central, for God's sake. So nothing's changed.
right.
And I know people are going to argue with me to that point and say, "Oh, yes, it does. It absolutely does not."
I would love to have that discussion with
Prove
folks.
to me. I'm one of those guys. Prove it to me. Show me something that it was before the tax abatement, and show me something after the tax abatement. If your water bill went up because you think it's a tax abatement, that's not true. If you think your sewer went up because of tax abatement, that's not true. If you think your school tax went up because of the tax abatement, that's not true. It's actually dropped. All these other things have dropped in this. Now,
well, I'll give you a prime example. When Tenera started coming in, and the council at the time decided that because of the increase in the population, we were going to need 2 more officers and 2 more patrol cars. They did it. They budgeted for it. They hired 2 more police officers. They bought 2 more police cars. And 2 years later, they didn't need them. Now, they didn't let them go, but they didn't, when those officers left, they didn't backfill it. And so it's that perceived deal. And you're right. So Teneris' tax abatement or any other tax abatement, when it really comes down to it, it's not costing you. Pay attention. The state is requiring that your property values are increasing exponentially. And I'm going to and again this year, you heard all the complaints about how high the tax process went up, the appraisal, not the tax rate. I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you, if you care about the 9 taxing districts, 9 that I paid for right here in Bay City, Texas, 9 taxing districts. And I can't really name them all, but it's a city, county, school, port, conservation, reclamation, drainage. I got close.
Hospital,
that's right. And all of those have a different tax rate.
Correct.
And all of those entities, every one of them right now are working on the budget. They'll get the budget. They'll see what the appraisals came in at, and they'll set a tax rate. And it's going to go up. And your taxes are going to go up. You're going to pay more taxes, probably. But if you care about that, then attend a budget workshop. I'm going next month to
Mitch, I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time to go to those workshops and all that stuff. I ain't got time for that. I got to cook for my kids.
Well,
I got to go cut
the
grass.
I get it. But you're going to have to get in the arena, and you're going to have to educate your friends and your neighbors, and you need to find out why. It's kind of like the price of the pool. The council voted to go from $1 to $4 per person, and everybody's melting down, and they're even calling it racial. And it's real simple. You're not, and I love the one guy on Facebook that said he used to pay a quarter to go to the pool. And do you pay the same for eggs and milk and gas that you paid 30 years ago? Or that you paid really just a few years ago? And the answer is no. For that pool to be run professionally and hire lifeguards and buy chemicals and the insurance and the upkeep, pools are expensive, dude. I had an in-ground pool when I lived in Richmond, Texas, and I'll never own an in-ground pool ever again. The power bill, don't forget about the power bill, because that pump's running just about all the time to circulate the water. Labor costs more. And so I think it's very reasonable to go from $1 to $4. Now, if I've got 15 kids, then that's something I have to think about. I may not can afford to send them to the pool.
Right.
But be reasonable, folks. I mean, when you start complaining about the price of everything, then do your homework. Find out why. Ask. I talk to these people. Jeff, you talk to these people. Hey, what's going on with the budget? Mitch, I got to pay salaries. Can't keep deputies because of the pay scale. Dipped into reserves a little bit to get us out of a little crisis we're in today. But you can't always do that. And so the idea that investigate. I don't run down there and start screaming, you're killing me, you're killing me, you're wasting money. No, I go and ask why. Asphalt. Go see what the price of asphalt is. You're all worried about potholes and as much city taxes as I pay. My question to you is, how much did you pay in property taxes to the city of Bay City? Or if you're bitching about the county. I don't really hear so much about the school system so much anymore, but I'm sure there are those out. I just don't hear it. At one time, your school taxes was the highest. The last legislative session, they brought that down quite a bit with a rainy day fund, to the point where the number one amount of money I paid a entity, one of the 9 entities, the highest was the city of Bay City. And I got in a lot of trouble talking about that last time because I was misunderstood. They thought that I was chastising them, and I wasn't. What I was trying to say is for all the services that I get all year long from the city of Bay City, I pay a paltry amount to get that done. Now, outside of water, sewer, which a lot of people don't know that we took on quite a bit of debt to work on water and sewer issues. Building the new water well out across from Schulman, next to Lucas, next to Tenaris. Oh, by the way, those people that want to say Tenaris never does anything for anybody, I'll just remind you, this year they paid $196,000 out to our seniors in all 4 school districts and donated the land to the city so the city could drill a new water well. So I might as well mention while I'm at it that they sponsor an awful lot of things. They're major players in the Great State Cook-Off and $50,000 sponsorships for the Fair Association. Come on, folks. These guys are active. They're doing everything they said they were going to do. Promises made.
Here's the part, Mitch. They don't have to do any of that.
Yeah, no.
They don't have to do any of that.
Yes.
That's like me having my business and someone coming along and saying, hey, are you going to make a donation for this? And then the next person goes, can you make a donation for this? Hey, can you make a donation for this? 50 million people come to you for donations all the time. I get phone calls about it a lot because they own a business. I got 30 cents in my pocket, man. What do you want? I got 30 cents in my pocket. What do you need? So they don't have to do that. So somebody that goes and moans and bitches and moans about, hey, Tenaris or STP, STP ain't doing that. Tenaris needs to be doing more. This is the no. Let me tell you what. You got a finger pointing out. You got 3 pointing back at you, baby.
Yeah,
you got 3 pointing back at you. So I know what they do. I know what STP does. I know what HIF is doing already.
Lyondell is great.
Lyondell. I know what they're all doing. So quit complaining about it. They are part of the community, and they will do what they do when they do it. They don't have to do it, but they will do what they need to do or want to do when they want to do it. So, getting back to your tax abatement thing, I want to say something.
Yeah.
All right. So I go in and I get an ice cream, right? I go to Dairy Queen, I get an ice cream. And I tell those guys, listen, I want to get an ice cream, but, I'm going to pay 25 cents, even though I owe you $1. I owe you $1. I'm going to give you 25 cents, but I want some time so I can make money, to start paying on this ice cream cone. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's a tax abatement. Okay. That's exactly what it is. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's not, they're not charging the customers because of your ice cream cone. They're not going to say, oh, well, we got to charge extra this week because, 75 cents of $1 ice cream cone didn't come back to us. That's how it works. I'm going to give you 25 cents for $1 ice cream cone. I need you to work with me over a couple of months. And then, we're going to build up. We're going to make build revenue up for ourselves to put all the money back into everything that we've already spent here in your county.
Right.
Together. And then, we're going to not only pay that ice cream cone, we're going to give free ice cream cones away after. Come on, man.
Yeah.
How hard? I don't know how many different ways, and you can ask Lydia, that I explained to somebody how a tax abatement works.
I know.
It's not rocket science, man. It's not rocket science.
And what they don't know is in a lot of cases, I'll use Tenaris. Arthur Milberger, talk to him all the time. Arthur Milberger was paying $2,000 a year, ag exempt, on that sod farm.
Yeah.
In other words, the county wasn't getting much.
Yeah, got you.
Already, you weren't getting much. Right. And then you come in and they're getting more money. The county is getting more money today with the abatement than they got when Arthur Milberger had it as a sod farm. So you didn't lose a penny. Then I understand that 17 of the brand new houses that's being built in Valor Park is Tenaris employees that have always wanted to live here. We just didn't have the inventory for them.
That's right.
We didn't have the inventory. They don't want a lot of these, and I don't mean it ugly, but a lot of these kids want new and shiny things. They don't want to buy an old home and remodel it.
Well, Mitch, how comes they didn't hire all the people from Matagorda County? How comes they didn't hire everybody? They said everybody was going to be. This is what I hear. I hear this. Okay, I love this. This I love. Everybody was supposed to be from Matagorda County and come here. Guess what? If you don't qualify for the job, you're not going to get the job. I don't care if you're my sister. You're not going to get the job. Okay. So therefore, you got to bring people in. Then they're going to move here. So no, not everybody.
I'm afraid we don't have enough willing, able employees to do that job. And here's it was the funniest story, Jeff, and I've got to tell it. There was they were advertised for a 4-ton crane operator.
Operator, yep.
And they hired somebody from out of town. And one of the complaints to me was, well, they didn't hire anybody to be a 4-ton crane operator. And I said, how many 4-ton crane operators, qualified crane operators, do we have here in Matagorda County? And they said, oh, we probably don't have any. And I said, but they could have learned on the job. I said, would you work under somebody operating a 4-ton crane, learning on the job, and you would work underneath them? Well, no, I probably wouldn't do that either. I said, yeah, me either.
No.
Who's stupid enough to want to teach somebody how to run a 4-ton crane while they're trying to learn and they're over there operating? It's not much different than operating a nuclear plant. Oh, I could learn. Yeah, but day 1, 2, and 3, you're going to melt the core down because you don't have a clue how to operate a nuclear plant. But I learned.
That same person goes after it melts down going, oh, they had crappy equipment. I don't know what. It's just like a small engine. People.
Yeah.
You get people coming over to the mower shop. Yeah, and I've been throwing an attitude lately because I'm just tired of the shit. So you get these people that come into me and look and say, hey, I need to get a brand new PTO put on and a belt and this and that. How long do you think it'll take? It's give me 2-3 days. Oh, man. I don't know. You don't see 60 tractors sitting here needing to get repaired.
Yeah.
You think I get to all 60 of these within a day?
Right.
And it's just me, myself, and Lydia.
I know.
So what do you want? What do you want me to do? Drop everything for you? Charge you a price that you're going to complain about and say, well, how comes it costs so much?
Right.
Right. No. So the answer is no.
Yeah.
No. I have people that understand. We'll wait in line if you want good service and good repair and guaranteed work. And
That's
you know, I've done work where the thing broke down the next day, and guess what? I went back out, picked it up, went, saw it was something different, didn't charge them a dime. You know why? Because they had patience. They had patience. And they believed in what I did. Fix it for them. Jeff, it's working great now. Okay, fine. That's the kind of work that I like to do. Sure. I don't like to do this. Hurry up, get it done, and screw it up. And then that way you bring it back saying, you screwed this up. I can't believe this and that. Blah, blah, blah. I had a lady today call me on the phone. I hope she watches the show. Brings me a zero-turn mower, and it's running bad. This and that. Calls me, texts me the next day. Is it ready? Is it pickup? No.
Oh.
No. I said, I didn't even get to look at it yet. On Friday, I said it'll be a couple of days. Today, tore it apart. It's carburetor.
Okay.
So I call her up and I go and order the car because it's just a carburetor on a zero turn. And I got yelled at for not calling her and letting her know what it was wrong with it. I'm like, okay, because she was told that wasn't the problem by a relative. And I said, all I could think of was, so if your relative knew how to fix it, why did you bring it to me?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a shop. I'm not I'm going to tell you what it is so you can go out and get the parts and fix it yourself.
Right.
You bring it here, I fix it, you take it home.
That's right.
And I don't get it. I don't get it anymore. It's like that every business you go into. You go to McCoy's or you go to Ace, if you walk in and I hear people all the time saying, do you have this and this? No, sir, we don't. Well, you should carry that. Do you know how many parts, bolts, pieces, and everything? A million miles long of different things.
Oh yeah, the building would have to be the size of Bay City.
I don't think people can.
They don't think.
They're not thinking out of a box that they're stuck in or whatever. I don't know. I think whatever they're told.
Common sense has gone out the window. Yeah,
it's done, and I'm sorry. I got common sense. That's the only reason I have a job. I will never say I'm the smartest person when it comes to small engine repair or anything. Comes to radio, anything, any of that. But I will look into it first before I comment or say something. I will definitely.
I know.
Something like a million times, you know. And the thing is, I still care about the safety of people. I still care about the safety of whether you're the smartest person in the world, the nicest person in the world, or the biggest idiot walking the face of the earth. I still do what I need to do to make sure that you're taken care of and safe. And you know, and so do all the volunteers out there, all the volunteer people. They feel the same way. They're getting tore down every day just to be beat up by people but yet they still go out and take care of those people. It's like, I'm getting to the point. Have you been a nice person, guy hanging off the cliff with one finger? You know, have you been faithful? And have you been, you know, I don't know anymore. I don't know. But I'm always, I want to speak. You know, I'll never say dislike somebody because personally, especially a politician or anybody that has anything to do with politics, because there's two sides to politics.
There is.
There's the personal person, family person, and then there's the politician.
Yep.
And you can't go, well, that guy's an ass because he said this and that about politics. That don't make him an ass. It makes him a politician. You know, he's working on something that you may like or don't like. But as a human being, a person, you can't judge that person on that decision or whatever. You know.
Well, and you've got to walk in their shoes too. Carolyn used to tell me all the time. I'd ask her, why'd you make that? And she said, it's a lot different sitting up at the dais than it is sitting out in the audience. And
yes,
that's got a lot of ring to it.
Yeah,
they're the ones that have the staff there to help them, and they're the ones that have the hot seat. I'm sitting out in the audience, and no camera on me, no microphone on me, and I'm sitting out in the audience with my opinion.
Right.
Now, and with some knowledge, maybe. I mean, there was a lot of issues that I'll have knowledge about. There's issues I don't have knowledge about. But like you said, you go and if I care enough, I go research it.
That's right. Yep.
And find out and ask questions kindly and nicely. Hey, can you help me? Why did you make that decision? What's going on in your mind? Right. When you're doing that, and of course, then they're screamed at and yelled at by what I would say is idiots. And after a while, you do lose. How can I say this? You do lose your faith in humanity when they're blasting you on Facebook, or they're blasting you in the newspapers, or they're talking bad about you, or in some cases screaming at you during open comments. There used to be a guy, and I don't know if he still goes. I don't remember his name, but every week he'd sit up there and literally raise his voice to the mayor and the council, and call them all kind of names, and telling them they're not worth a damn, and telling them that they've got it all wrong. And he was the smartest person in the world. And I asked him one time, I said, why don't you run for office? Why don't you run for city council and get up there and see what it's like on that side of the table? Oh, man, I ain't going to do that. Yeah, you just want to come up here. I think he was mentally ill, is what I really think. I think he was bipolar and mental, because he could sit there in one breath and praise the mayor for something, and then 30 seconds later, he's calling him a dirty dog because he doesn't do this and this and this and this and this. Half the time, it wasn't even the mayor's job or responsibility. I remember him bitching one time about the drainage on 7th Street. That's a state highway. TxDOT's responsible for that, not city. And he just looked at me. And I said, I did tell him this. This was 20 years ago. And I said, you really need to do your homework before you stand up here and embarrass yourself. I said, I'm embarrassed for you. And he looked at me like I was an idiot. I even gave me but that was before I realized he was just an idiot. Or a buffoon. And I actually gave him my business card. And I said, next time, before you come up here and embarrass yourself, give me a call and let me try to help you through your situation. Then I realized I probably did it for the notoriety, kind of a short little guy. Probably had a little Hitler syndrome going along with, and open comments. He had 3 minutes to say anything he wanted, and they couldn't respond, and so he just took advantage of that. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. We talked about getting employees nowadays, and somebody that really wants to work. And you're right. Tenaris is trying to hire the best people to do the job, not hire them as a charity.
That's correct. And they want to hire the best people because they want to have the best product. And in order to have the best product, you have to have people that understand how to make the best product, and then get them to be on the same page that you are. You don't want to forcibly hire someone because, we got a spot open. Well, we need to fill that spot. You just don't fill it with anybody.
Right.
You can't. You can't take somebody that's never been in the restaurant business and say, okay, you're the manager of my restaurant.
Yeah.
You have no clue.
No clue.
You will fail. So the common sense thinking, and something you brought up too with that guy, and we talked about it before, and you said you knew a guy that might be able to come on the show, but this mental illness stuff that's going on, and it's getting worse, just worse and worse. And I hope sometime we can get that guy on and he can explain it, what direction we're going into, and how to possibly fix that situation. But anyway, that's a story for another deal.
Let's jump to the LA thing real quick.
Yeah.
because I really wanted to get to that. I was out of town, so Carolyn and I were in Lubbock most of the week. We left on Wednesday and came back late Sunday. And lo and behold, this morning I find out that President Trump has called the National Guard out because of all the riots and protests, and I use that word carefully. But I love the spin of the various news media. I had a few minutes this morning to kind of flip, and I got on to MSNBC, very liberal, and they said that these folks are just upset and they're just protesting, and Trump had no reason whatsoever to call out the National Guard. And I look at this picture. Now, you tell me that's a peaceful protester that cares about the United States.
This was the
and look at that.
Yeah.
That's why President Trump called out the National Guard, and if I understand, it's called out 700 Marines.
Yes.
And yet you've got the governor of California chastising him and blaming that picture on Trump. And the mayor of LA, which was a total disaster when she was managing the wildfires. It's interesting to me how, and yet various news outlets spin it. What was the guy's name? Riley, one of the national talk shows. And he called it the No Spin Zone.
Yeah.
He had his show called the No Spin Zone. But you go to CNN and everything. Bill O'Reilly, that's right. Bill O'Reilly, the No Spin Zone.
Yeah.
And yet you turn to MSNBC and you turn to CNN, and these are just peaceful folks that are just tired of these ICE agents being mean and grabbing people. And there's no reason for the National Guard. It was an overreach by the president. And then you see some of the pictures that came out, and I kind of reminded me, and here it is summertime, right? And tempers are flaring. It's kind of like, what was it, several years ago in Oregon, Portland?
Baltimore.
Well, Baltimore too, but Portland, they actually took over like 6 blocks. And the mayor wouldn't do anything about it. And Biden wouldn't do anything about it. And they owned those areas.
Wasn't that Minnesota?
Maybe Minnesota. Maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
But that's why Trump is doing what he's doing, is to keep this thing from getting out of hand. I watched a kid with a skateboard busting windows out of a building. And he'd bust this one, and he'd bust the next, and he just worked his way down. Well, guess what, Jeff? Somebody's got to put a new window in there, and somebody's got to pay for it.
Yeah,
and somebody's got to clean up all the glass. And I don't understand how we coddle these folks and make them. I like the hammer getting put down on them. Now, I'm an old guy, and I believe in law and order. But the reason is the governor and the mayor evidently can't handle it. The police, the other picture I saw, Jeff, was the police hiding under the bridge because they were throwing things down at them.
Yeah. And
they're all huddled under an overpass because the crowd above them was throwing stuff at them.
Yeah.
And look, the reason I'm not a cop is because I'm carrying a firearm and you're throwing a cement block at me. I'm shooting you.
Yeah.
You're gone.
I'm trying to get that. I'm going to try to get that picture. I know exactly the one you're talking about from the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll get it.
And you're telling me that the mayor and the governor had it under control and all the cops are hiding under the bridge? The overpass?
Yeah.
Yeah, give me something else, man. I don't believe you. And of course it's political and everybody's spinning it the way they want it spun. And that's fine. I heard a commentator talking about, well, just let them burn everything. I saw where the Adidas store was being looted. And the T-Mobile store was that no longer is a peaceful protest because of ICE agents picking up illegal aliens.
Right.
That's really bad people taking advantage of really good business people. And the riots of LA, you know, back when I forget when they beat that one of the guys, and they beat him in the corner. It's videoed quite a bit. But anyway, I just think it's sad. I'm glad that we've got a federal government that's paying attention, that's protecting businesses and protecting people's property, protecting lives being lost. When you start shutting down major freeways, and that was it. That was it. And these guys are hiding under the overpass. That's not a peaceful protest, folks.
No.
That needs the National Guard. You need the National Guard when this is happening.
Yeah, when it starts coming to our police officers and all that. I mean, just think of this. The amount of money that it's going to cost not only California taxpayers, but across the nation to replace these things from insurance and all the other stuff. We're paying. We pay for that.
We do.
I don't know if anybody remembers, but it is the United States of America. That means you're all united, which means you're helping everybody else out too. So just because you live in a state and on a map it has a line doesn't mean that, you know, you're not a part of what's going on there. Every road, I said this one time, and a guy in legislation or senator or something, he says, you know, I never really thought of it that way. I said, every road is connected in the United States. No matter where you turn, left, right, whatever, it's going to take you somewhere in this country. And he goes, you know, I never thought of that. I never really thought of that. I said, so there's no lines anywhere. I wouldn't know I was in Alabama unless there was a sign that said that you're in Alabama. You know,
exactly.
That's the only way you know you're in Alabama. Is the sign. So how about you took down all those signs and make it the United States of America? You know, and now you know how everybody's connected. Everything works. And when 9/11 happened, that affected all of us. When the stuff like this happens, that affects all of us. You know,
it does.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to say, let them burn everything down, but then I'm thinking about that business owner. You know, the tennis shoe store owner. He didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
But yet they're stealing his product. Yeah. The T-Mobile owner of that, he didn't do anything wrong, but they're stealing his phones.
Yeah.
Breaking in and just breaking and spray painting federal buildings.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to go clean that up, and you and I've got to pay for it.
Well, California's a little odd to begin with because of what they let do there in San Francisco. Like if you left with $500 of goods or under, they would let you go. Let you go. Yeah, it was it. And now they've changed it to where it's $100 or under or something like that. So California's an odd state, you know. One of the oddest ones we got.
I mean, it was beautiful. Carolyn and I enjoyed our trip out there. We kind of went up into Napa Valley and down to Monterey, and it's beautiful, but the people are cray-cray.
Yeah, they are. Little cray-cray.
Fruitcakes. That's what Jimmy Buffett said. Fruitcakes.
And Jimmy's dead.
Jimmy's dead.
Poor Jimmy's dead.
That's the reason I went to a dermatologist. I thought, really? Maybe I ought to go get checked out. Get a little close to home with the Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah. Fins to the left, fins to the right, baby.
I know.
Cheeseburger.
I'll tell you what, Jeff, I wished I had you and Andy. Carolyn and I were in Lubbock Thursday night when the big tornadoes came in.
Yeah.
Tornadoes to the north and hail the size of softballs to the south. That when we got up to the room, we went out to dinner, and when we got back up to the room, and we were on the top floor, and the whole wall, that exterior wall, was glass.
Yeah.
And this little kid, this little meteorologist, man, he was losing it. He was telling everybody in the station to go to their safe room. He was going to stay on air as long as he could. It just so happened that the tornado went back up into the clouds in downtown Lubbock where we were. We were just east of the Texas Tech campus in downtown Lubbock.
Yep.
The TV station, you could hear on the TV, you could hear the hail hitting the roof.
Roof of the station.
And I'll tell a funny story myself. So I'm worried about my car, my truck. I'm worried about it. And there was a covered parking area off to the side. And I told Carolyn, I said, I'm gonna go move my truck underneath that covered awning. And she said, "You're an idiot. You're going to get sucked up into that tornado." And it wasn't long after that, I got more worried about her life and my life than I did that truck. And we ended up getting our important papers and going down and getting in a safe spot there at the hotel with about 200-300 other people.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, that was scary. And then the next night it was repeating, not in the same location and not close to us, but it was flooding and hail and tornadoes. But I guess those people are used to it.
Yeah. And from mid Texas to the north, they've been really getting it bad. And right now,
Dallas got it last night. I haven't talked to my son yet.
Dallas did get it last night. They got it early this morning.
And then this morning was pretty loud around town.
Yeah. Bay City got it pretty well. Down here where I'm at in Matagorda wasn't a whole lot.
Okay. How much rain did we get? I haven't made it to the gate.
What? I'm not sure. I have to talk to Andy, but I would say at least a half inch to an inch of rain.
Yeah, it came down hard.
Yeah, when I see some of those puddles, yeah. So the forecast for the rest of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we are going to be under, and I'm sure of this, we're going to be under a severe weather watch for the next couple of days. A possibility, chance of hail, but very heavy to severe thunderstorms with heavy rain throughout the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The east is from a low pressure system that is developing just in the northwest side of Texas and really not moving a whole lot. So it's going to sit there and it's going to spin, take a little dip to the south before it moves off to the east, but it's going to go very, very slow. Wow. And these storms that are going to come down are going to follow the jet stream at about 20,000 to 25,000 feet. And there's a big dip that comes from northwest Texas down along the Gulf and then scoops back up and then goes back up into Louisiana and Arkansas and that way. So those storms are going to scoop down. They have a lot of moisture to work with. We talked about it yesterday on certain different weather things that we're talking about. And there's actually...
They were predicting in Austin 6-8 inches of rain overnight. I haven't seen what they got, but we were listening as we were driving down. We were listening to some of the radio stations, and they were talking about Austin was over the next 3 days. Austin was going to get a considerable amount of rain.
So Wharton County, Matagorda County, Brazoria County, up towards that way, up towards Houston and Jackson County and Calhoun County, anywhere between 1 to 3 inches is most likely possible over the next 3 days. There are some locations that will get 2 to 4 inches, maybe even 5 inches in some of those heavier, those downpours come, but total accumulations of 1 to 3 inches over the next couple of days is
doable.
Yeah. As long as it don't do it all at one time, we're okay. Down here, when I get 3 inches at one time, I need a rowboat and a Carnival cruise line to come and get us out of here. So
I got you.
But anyway,
next week we're going to talk about the Tenaris lawsuit.
Okay.
It's in. I doubt most people knew that there were some families that sued Tenaris. We'll talk about that's during Harvey, and I talked a little bit about the pool, but we'll talk a little bit about the Tenaris lawsuit and what the judge ruled, or the judges ruled on that, man. And we look forward to it.
All right. And whenever you own a small business, don't hurt your finger, okay? Don't do that to your finger. No. That's that damn Mike Ferdinand guy's tractor bit me.
Oh boy.
I told him, I said, man, you put this thing on steroids, it's gonna be nasty. I'm telling you.
All right.
We get it straightened out. All right, guys. Thanks for watching Inside Texas with Jeff Michaels and Mitch Thames, or Mitch Thames and Jeff Michaels. Inside Texas with Mitch and Jeff. And Caroline, because I know Caroline monitors everything I say. I guarantee
everything I do.
everything. But thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you all next week. Have yourselves a great week. And stay tuned to GCOR1.com for severe weather information. We'll see you later.